The crypto market as a whole has mixed performance right now, but the Sonic token, formerly known as Fantom, is rallying from one high to the next. The question is, how much longer can this rally actually last? Let's have a look at relative market caps. Let's have a look at relative valuation charts. Let's look at data most people are not considering. Now we're currently at 94 cents. We are up 30% today and 70% this week. I published a video on Sonic 3 days ago. Interestingly enough, it only performed average. One might expect when there's an exclusive rally in a single token that the attention should be way higher, but that's actually not what happened. At the time, by the way, the price was only at 62 cents. And so I try to publish videos on this channel early. If you don't want to miss the next one, feel free to subscribe over here. Let's get into the data. Here's very likely a chart that you have never seen before. This is Fantom relative to Bitcoin on a logarithmic scale. Now there's a one-to-one conversion from the FTM token, from Fantom, to the Sonic token, S token. They have the same price. And what we're seeing here is its relative performance to Bitcoin. Logarithmic means that the vertical distances represent the same kind of percentage gains. That is different to a linear scale where the vertical differences are constant US dollar absolute amounts. Now what is interesting over here? First of all, long term over the years, we saw Fantom or Sonic underperform Bitcoin. So when we take the slope of this line over the last 3 years, roughly, we have seen an underperformance of 63%. But we also see massive volatility, right? We see rallies of 160% over here, of 190% over here. And now we're just starting another rally. We're already up 133% versus Bitcoin. And if we stay in this current trading range, we have another potential 32% or so. Now, Fantom was one of the major players in the prior bull run. A lot of people used the Fantom blockchain for decentralized finance. The reason why the adoption halted was twofold. First of all, we did get quite a bit of bottlenecking. So when a new application was launched by the major developer Andre Cronje, the blockchain tended to get very, very clogged. And then in the end, the gas prices went up very, very high to similar degrees to what had to be paid on Ethereum. Now, the second issue, and that's what broke the camel's back, was the multi-chain hack. So multi-chain was the major bridge to move assets from Ethereum to Fantom. That bridge got hacked. All the funds got drained, and so in the end all the funds on the Fantom blockchain couldn't get moved out of the blockchain anymore. So there was no one-on-one fiat to stablecoin conversion for the Fantom blockchain anymore because the fiat wasn't really backed anymore. Both of those problems have been resolved. So Sonic is now way faster than Fantom ever was, and the bridge is now native to the Fantom blockchain. There's no third party anymore where you have the risk that somebody might run away with the funds. Now here's another very useful chart. Again, a relative valuation chart, not a US dollar chart, but relative valuation. Fantom relative to Ethereum. Now, why even look at those relative valuation charts? I find them very useful because of two reasons. First of all, we've got a lot of correlation within crypto, right? When Bitcoin goes up or when Ethereum goes up, then a lot of altcoins go up as well. So we need to know what is the difference in performance. The second reason is when we buy an altcoin, we want to get long-term more return because an altcoin inherently is more risky than Bitcoin. And so if we buy an altcoin and we don't get more return compared to Bitcoin, then we just take on more risk without more return. That's worse in terms of risk versus reward. So we should only get into an altcoin if we can expect outperformance. Now this is again Fantom relative to Ethereum, and there seems to be a somewhat stable trading range. If you buy FTM at the wrong time and then you're also selling at the wrong time, you might lose versus Ethereum 70%. But if you then do it the other way around, you buy low and you sell high, you can 3x your money. Currently, we are pretty high on the trading range. However, there are also some data points that suggest that this long-term trading range could break to the upside. More on that later in this video. Now, why did Fantom, why did the FTM token have such a hard time to outperform Bitcoin long-term when its adoption was relatively high? The answer is over here. Here is the circulating supply of FTM, which pretty much doubled from 1.5 billion to 3 billion over the course of 5 years. Now, this chart suggests that there's no more token inflation. but that's actually not correct. For example, there's a staking program. You can lock up your S tokens, your Sonic token, and you can get a reward. That's described over here in the documentation, and here is the website. Currently, staking pays 5.83% APR. But then there are also quite complex tokenomics. Now, usually I don't like a lot of rules around the token supply because very often this tries to disguise how much supply actually hits the market. I don't think this is true for Sonic. I think the reason why those tokenomics are so complex is because a lot of governance votes, right? The FTM or the Fantom community had to sign off on all of this. Here's the worst case scenario of the token supply over time. Now, this table does not directly come from the official website. It's just summarized what's described over here. And we're starting off with 3.2 billion in supply. We're getting an airdrop of 190 billion tokens 6 months after launch. And then for the first 5 years, there are new tokens that get minted for the ongoing funding. And then after 4 years, we get our token rewards. The total supply increase is not too bad. It's 25% over 10 years. And so the dilution is way we saw with FTM. Now, the market as a whole had been very brutal for all of crypto recently. Have a look at the total value locked change in decentralized finance across various chains. Everything is red. Some things are more red than others. Solana contracted by 30% in the last month. But have a look at the bottom here. Sonic more than 3x in the last month. This is the total value locked over time. Everyone is now focused in on Sonic, and with good reason. This is not just hype. There are a lot of applications that get used on Sonic. Silo Finance grew the most, and on my.soniclabs.com we've got a separate overview of various applications. Now, a lot of those applications are simply coming from the old Fantom ecosystem, but some of them are also now completely new. And I still remember using some of them. Beefy Finance, for example, is a very good decentralized exchange comparison site. So if you're looking for liquidity pools, you're wondering where can I best deploy my hard-earned stable coins and get nice reward for this relatively cheaply, Beefy Finance is very, very useful. Now, as said, there's now a lot of momentum around Sonic. Just have a look at the most liquid trending assets on the chain. Pretty much everything is going up by at least 30%. Some tokens are going up by 50%, or they're even doubling. And it's now the 5th most active chain. We've got already almost $500 million of trading volume in the last 24 hours. That's probably going to increase. And in terms of layer ones, in terms of smart contract platforms, Sonic with 3 billion market cap is not that expensive. There are way less active chains that have higher market caps. For example, Mantra just has a lot of hype around it. It's already almost 3 times as expensive. We've got Avalanche, which is more than 3 times more expensive. And there used to be a head-to-head race in the prior bull run between Avalanche and Fantom. And then afterwards, things might get a bit tougher, right? Tron and Soy definitely do have quite a bit of adoption. But a 2x, potentially 3x is definitely on the cards. If you got some value out of this video, feel free to subscribe. I publish this regularly. A like would be very much appreciated as well. It helps the channel grow. Feel free to also check out the premium membership. In premium, I share what kind of purchases I make. I also share what kind of short positions I open, because actually there are more altcoins that underperform Bitcoin than altcoins that outperform Bitcoin. So there is true alpha in betting on falling altcoins as well. It's not always about just picking the needle in the haystack. Sometimes just betting on the haystack doing worse than Bitcoin can already be enough to make very good gains. So the link is down below, thebitcoinstrader.com. Looking very much forward to seeing you over there. Of course, also looking forward to seeing you here in YouTube. Cheers.